Once upon a time, I was fat too. And when I say once upon a time, I mean 5 years and a month ago. I was really fat. And I've been all sides of the spectrum in terms of body composition. As a kid, I've always been the skinny kid, but I never saw it as an issue because naturally, when you're a kid, everyone else is also really skinny. That's not even deemed as a bad thing, it's normal. Well, I wouldn't necessarily say skinny because, in other countries, third world countries, it's a lot worse where your rib cage is literally showing. So I would more say you're on the slim side. I was on the slim side of things, and it was never deemed as an issue then because it's pretty normal to be skinny as a kid, right? Moving on to high school, I did gain some mass. Now, visually speaking, I wasn't fat, but when I was at home, I did feel really fat in the sense of I eat a lot of food, I want to exercise, and I had a lot of man breasts. Long story short, without getting into too much detail, mainly because I explained this story so many times, I got into really great shape. And there was a period in time where the gym was all I had. I had no other things going for me. The gym was my therapy, and it still is my therapy. I love the gym, I love working out. More so working out in general rather than the gym, because I started working out at home, right? So let's just talk fitness in general. And persona. So fitness, as we know, naturally is going to boost your confidence because it's one of the things which is considered rare nowadays because, as we know, most people are quite lazy. And you can build it all by yourself and it makes you a rarity among people. And talking about myself, and this is coming from someone who never considers himself special, I still don't, I just work really hard and I managed to get in pretty good shape and, it speaks. And I know this because every time I walk outside, I get double takes from both men and women. Which is a nice feeling, to have that respect. And I'm also quite prideful of the body I built also. I always look in the mirror and I'm in awe. It feels amazing. And, naturally being a man, I would have the natural desire to want to fuck women, as many women as possible. And that's our core desire. Now, does that mean we should be entitled to pursue that desire? No, because believe it or not, it will mess us up long term. Spiritually wise, forming all these soul ties with all these unnecessary women. And it damages us men also. It will damage the women a lot more because they're a lot more emotional and whatnot. I believe that's my theory. It will still damage us men, so we shouldn't be doing that. But naturally I have that core desire, and I used, so one of the key things that got me into working out was just to prove my family wrong because I get a lot of shit from people for being fat. And to also prove to myself, and third would probably be women because I love women. And naturally I want to have sex with women, so that's just a natural core desire that God put in me. So I have no shame saying it, and I believe a lot of men have the same also. It's just that I have the balls to say what most people are afraid to say. So I'm speaking on your behalf also, chances are. And I get into great shape, I get into brilliant shape, and I start attracting beautiful women who I thought I'd never be able to attract just for having a great physique. And I just thought it was crazy because at one point I thought I'd never be able to attract these caliber of women in terms of looks, but I managed to get it. After, now with everything, when you have something for so long, you tend to take it for granted. And no, let me rephrase that. When you don't have something, you tend to pedestalize it a lot more than you should. And it was a perfect example for me. I would always pedestalize, because I don't consider myself naturally attractive. I'm average. I'm probably a 5 out of 10 at best. Not to say that's a bad thing. Not to say women don't find me attractive, because they have beautiful ones. Pardon me. But you would attract that in the past. Well, you would crave it in the past because you don't have it now. You didn't get the attention you wanted. Same with physique. I'd always dream of myself having the physique. And honestly, after 5 years and a month of training, at 18 years old, so I started at 13, I'm really close to my dream physique now. And it's like, yeah, you still get the double takes from beautiful women, men look back. It's going to happen your whole life, Gordon. And this is taken into account. You do fitness because you love it now. I do fitness because I love it. Not for the looks anymore. Now, the looks will motivate you to go further because I reached my goal in terms of looks. I look pretty good. Really good. Big enough, look pretty good, long story short. And it's, you know, I fell into this trap because, like I told you earlier in the video, fitness was all I had at one point in my life. I had nothing else going for me, just fitness. Normal person, I just worked out. And it's very easy to fall into the trap of excessive pride. In the Bible, pride is considered a sin. Now, I do agree, pride can be sinful, but I still believe we should all take pride in ourselves in some way, shape or form. Am I telling you to sin? Absolutely not. I think, you know, when they talk about this, the 7 deadly sins in the Bible and whatnot, I feel like it was a bit too vague. They should have dived a bit more deeper, hence why we need to do our own research. But when they say pride is a sin, I believe they mean that in the way of, you know, you believe you're on top of God. I'll give you a quick example. The person who created Titanic about over 100 years ago, he went as far as to say the Titanic was unsinkable. I quote, not even God could sink this boat. Ironically, it sunk 113 years ago in the span of 2 hours and 40 minutes. Some people like to see that, and, you know, theories view that as a punishment of their pridefulness, and they've been humbled via sinking. It's still in the North Atlantic Ocean, by the way. You can see that. Well, you can't visit, don't go down in the water. Don't take it literally, you dumbass. But it is there, still down there. And I'm going off topic. That's what I mean in terms of pride. So pride in the sense of, you know, you think you're better than God, which you're not. And it's really ironic because he made you. Where was I? So yeah, I believe we still should take pride in ourselves, but, you know, when fitness was all you had and, you know, you've been ridiculed for having a physique you don't want, you know, you're skinny and you're fat, it's very easy to fall into the trap of, you know, you get overly cocky and a bit too arrogant to where you start to look down on people. You start to look down on them, you start to treat them like shit. And you may not actively do this, but you may feel the thoughts in your head. And this is something I experienced myself also, personally, in my own personal life. And I started to hate it because I started to walk out in public and I'd be too in my head. You know, this is what often happens with beautiful women. They're so beautiful, they just turn their head. And what constantly goes on in their head is, what does this person think about me? What does this person think about me? Just for being beautiful, which is, you wouldn't suspect it, but trust me, when you're that beautiful, you're gonna think like that. And the opposite is for me. So the male version of that problem was being in shape all the time. I don't know what, because I'm getting bored filming in the same area. Maybe just stand up. It gets boring, you know, and it's not a nice position to be in. Just having fitness in terms of like what you've got. Now, I believe fitness is a beautiful thing, and I believe we should all pursue it. However, it's not good to have that as the only thing you have in your head, and I've been there and it sucks. It's a really bad negative. It's a daunting experience to say the least. I don't like it. It's a very dark place because I remember I'd always go outside and I'd be so fixated on the way I look, physique-wise. Yeah, again, obvious looks, but it's like when that's the only thing running in your head, it's not a good issue to have. And you know, when you have something for so long, it kind of becomes the norm, and when you have something for so long, it does become a norm, and it starts to become second nature, you know? I'm just seeing, yeah, I'll say. I wanted to see if the seat was right. When you have something for so long, it becomes a norm, it becomes second nature. And I wouldn't necessarily say you start to devalue it, but you kind of do. And not in a bad way. You know, for me to live my ideal life, I say ideal life because obviously, really and truly, nothing's perfect in this world. But we need to have our own standard of what's perfect. It's just to have everything I wanted just there, you know. And I'm not going to dive too deep into that, but fitness is a factor, right? It's just nice to have the body. It's like, you don't have it, you really want it. You really want it when you don't have it. When you get it, it's like, yeah, it's good. I'm still prideful I have it. But it's like, yeah, it's nice. You don't need to obsess over it anymore because you have what you wanted. And yes, it does make your quality of life better. So I wouldn't tell you to devalue it or not pursue it. I still want you to pursue it. But please don't make fitness your entire personality. Like even me right now, I'm in shape now. And I've only learned this recently, and you know, this year, where I'm truly starting to take action into things. And that's to just go outside. And yes, I'm still pretty big. I'm a really big guy, guys. If you meet me in real life, you'll notice I'm really large. I'm 176 centimeters, I'm 5'9", and I'm 83 kilograms, and I'm lean. I have abs, and I train calisthenics, so I'm really big in real life. And yes, it won't stop in terms of, you know, women and men complimenting me physique-wise. You look great, you look great. And I'll still take it. You know, I'm not telling you to be desensitive to comments, but I don't want you to have fitness just running in your mind 24/7 and have nothing else going for you. I believe men should be really well-rounded. Have traits about yourself that make you interesting as a person. Don't just be that fitness guy, that gym rat. No. Well, you can be a gym rat in the gym when you're in the gym, but when you get out, have some interesting things about yourself also. You know? Learn about God. That's really important. So, I'm not where I want to be spiritually at my own personal life, but I'm still doing the best I can. So, I'm taking one step at a time every day to learn more about God, the history of God and Israel. Just studying the Bible in general to, you know, gain an understanding of how God works, you know. And it's not just religion. Alright, so we've got fitness and religion. That's a beautiful foundation. We've got more topics to talk about now. Fashion. Now, I'm not the richest right now, but I'm starting to get into fashion myself. This is coming from someone who never really cared about fashion. Even I'm starting to get into it. Just, you know, the thought is there. Not actively pursuing it, but the thought of wanting to, you know, find my type of fashion which suits me is there. I want to get better with women. I want to speak to more women. I love being with women. I'm a man's man more than a lady's man. But yes, I do prefer being around men, but it's nice to be with women also. So that's a good balance as well. And on top of the topics you're putting, on top of that you're finding on top of fitness, you're going to become a more interesting person to talk to. I like playing the instrument. I bought a recorder last month. No, a year ago in March, and I play at a pretty good level. I should make more videos about it. More things to talk about, to teach about, tell people about. I like making poems, more things to talk about. I like animals, more things to talk about. I like learning languages. By the time I'm 30 years old, I plan on learning 5. By the time I'm 20, I'll be fluent in French, the next year. By the time I'm 23, I'll be fluent in German. By the time I'm roughly 25, I'll be fluent in Spanish. And 30, I'll be fluent in what's it called? Japanese. So I speak French right now at a pretty good level. À tu peux voir, je ne parle pas français. Je parle français et je regarde une vidéo pour parler de mon expérience et devenir un homme plus qu'entreprise. Je voulais être la meilleure version que moi et je voulais pour les choses être les mêmes pour toi. So as you can see, I still speak French. I feel like I need to speak more French out loud because I know what I'm saying, but I don't speak it enough, so it's not processing in my head as fast as I'd want it to for English. I just realized that now, so it's a bit of a reality check. In short, I just want you to be a well-rounded person, and I don't want fitness to be like, oh, you know, it's not a nice thing. I want you to know how to fight. I want you to be cool like calisthenics. Bro, you know what? Bro, I'm encouraging you, man. Do you know what interesting? I want you to be an interesting man. You know, I want you to be an interesting guy. I want to be an interesting guy. I want to be that cool guy. Yeah, but people can go like, this guy fucking knows everything. Now, I'm not telling you to literally know everything, but you're just interesting because you have so many things to talk about. And that's why I want to be like 10 years from now. I want to be at a position where if someone wants to ask me for fitness advice, I got you. Hey, like you can blend into multiple areas of life. If I want to go to that country, I speak Spanish. All right, let me speak to the Spanish folk, you know? You see where I'm going with this? If I wanted to educate people about a certain topic, wherever that may be, finance, business, life, religion, I can do that. Just be someone who is capable of, you know, adapting. And I call that the outlier male. Shout out to Chris Sturm, you got the idea from him. Outlier males are, and let me end it off by saying this. This is the difference between outlier males and alpha males. Outlier males, alpha males are good at one thing. Outlier males are good at a variety of areas of life. And that's what my channel's about. Notice how I don't just do fitness stuff. I post everything I'm interested in. And the people I want, they'll come.